Hello everyone, and welcome to Who Created It and How. Have you ever walked through a museum, gazed at an ancient monument, or even just picked up a curiously shaped rock and wondered, how did people from thousands of years ago leave their mark? Long before paper, ink, or computers, humanity's first storytellers used the most enduring canvas they could find: stone. Today we're going on a journey back in time to uncover the incredible methods our ancestors used to write in stone. It's a story of ingenuity, artistry, and the deep human desire to be remembered. So, grab your virtual chisel, and let's start chipping away at history. Our story begins with the simplest form of stone writing: petroglyphs. These are images carved or pecked into a rock surface. Think of the famous rock art in places like Australia, Africa, and the American Southwest. The tools were basic, often just a harder, pointed stone used to scratch away the darker, weathered outer layer of a rock, called the desert varnish, to reveal the lighter stone beneath. Imagine the patience this required. Each line, each figure of an animal or a human, was the result of countless taps and scrapes. It wasn't just about making a picture. It was about communicating. These images could mark territory, tell the story of a great hunt, or record astronomical events. It was humanity's first headline, etched not in ink but in the very skin of the earth. But what if you wanted to write something more complex than a picture? What if you needed a system for laws, records, or epic poems? Enter the masters of stone inscription, the ancient Egyptians, Mesopotamians, Greeks, and Romans. They took stone writing to a whole new level. Let's start in ancient Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization. Here the Sumerians developed one of the first true writing systems, cuneiform. While cuneiform is most famous for being pressed into wet clay tablets with a reed stylus, the most important declarations were carved in stone for permanence. A prime example is the Code of Hammurabi. This towering black basalt stele, over 7 feet tall, is covered in intricate cuneiform script. How did they do it? Scribes would first draft the text on a temporary surface like a clay tablet. Then, skilled artisans would meticulously transfer the text onto the stone. They used bronze or early iron chisels and mallets. The process was incredibly laborious. The carver had to be both strong and precise. One wrong move, one slip of the chisel, could ruin a section of the text, and there was no backspace key on a block of diorite. The carver would follow the scribe's outline, carefully chipping away small pieces of stone to form the wedge-shaped cuneiform characters. It was a collaboration between the intellectual and the artisan, the scribe and the sculptor, working together to create a document that would last for millennia. Now let's journey over to ancient Egypt. The Egyptians perfected the art of hieroglyphs, a stunningly beautiful script that combined logographic, syllabic, and alphabetic elements. You see them everywhere in Egypt, from the walls of grand temples like Karnak to the inner chambers of the pyramids. The Egyptians used a similar method of carving, but with an added layer of artistic flair. They often employed a technique called sunken relief. Instead of carving the background away to make the figures stand out, they carved the outlines of the hieroglyphs and figures into the stone, so the images are below the surface level. This had a practical advantage. It protected the carvings from the harsh sun and weather, and the shadows created by the sun would make the glyphs incredibly clear and readable from a distance. The tools were simple chisels and mallets, but the results were anything but. Often these hieroglyphs were then painted in vibrant colors, making the temple walls look like immense, colorful comic books telling stories of gods, pharaohs, and the afterlife. What about the ancient Greeks and Romans? They gave us the alphabets that many of us still use today. When they wanted to make a public announcement, commemorate a victory, or inscribe a law, they turned to marble and stone. Walk through the Roman Forum, and you'll see the legacy of their stonemasons everywhere. The Roman square capitals you see on monuments like the Colosseum or the Arch of Titus are the basis for our modern capital letters. The process was highly organized. First, a master scribe, or ordinarius, would write out the text. Then a craftsman would paint the letters onto the stone slab. Finally, the stone carver, the lapidarius, would take his V-shaped chisel and carefully cut along the painted lines. The V shape of the chisel was key. It created a groove that played with light and shadow, making the letters appear elegant and sharp, giving them a sense of authority and permanence. This is why inscriptions on Roman monuments are still so legible after 2,000 years. It's a testament to incredible skill and a deep understanding of both material and light. So how long did this take? It's difficult to say exactly, but we can estimate. For a complex monument like Trajan's Column in Rome, covered in a spiral of detailed carvings telling the story of a military campaign, it would have taken a team of master carvers years, possibly even decades, to complete. Each figure, each piece of armor, each inscription was painstakingly chipped away by hand. It was a monumental undertaking, both literally and figuratively. These weren't just decorations, they were history books, propaganda, and public records all rolled into one. They were designed to shout their message across the centuries. And the incredible thing is, they succeeded. When we look at these ancient inscriptions, we're not just seeing old writing. We are connecting directly with the people who made them. We can feel the rhythm of the mallet blows, see the concentration in the carver's eyes, and hear the voices of scribes, priests, and emperors from the distant past. They chose stone because they knew it would last. They were writing not just for their own time, but for us, for the future. They were ensuring that their stories, their laws, and their very existence would not be forgotten. It's the ultimate expression of the human need to leave a mark, to say, I was here. This is my story. And thanks to their incredible skill and dedication, their message still resonates, loud and clear, from the silent, unyielding heart of the stone. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the art of stone writing. It's truly amazing what our ancestors could achieve with simple tools and immense determination. If you found this journey into the past as fascinating as I did, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to Who Created It and How, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next exploration. We have so many more stories to uncover together. Until next time, stay curious.